What's going on, everybody? This is Temperature Check. I am your host, as always, man. Mr. Check the Temperature. How y'all doing? Before we get started with today's content, I must do what I always do anytime you see me on your screen, and that is thank you for the likes, comments, shares, most importantly, those subscriptions. So whether you be a day one fan or someone who just started rocking with the channel today, man, I greatly appreciate it. And if you're loving what I got going on my channel, you want to stay engaged with everything I got going on outside of this, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, Mr. Check the Temperature on both of them platforms. But I gotta let y'all know before we get off into these topics. This temperature check apparel, man, is about to drop this month. The red canvas hats, the red dad hats. We got hoodies in black, red, cool gray, charcoal gray, and my personal favorite, the olive military green, will be dropping. So if you're interested in any of this apparel, man, hit me up in the comments section. Hit me in my DMs on my social medias. Let's talk business. Let's make sure that you're right. Now, if you don't know what temperature check means and what it stands for, is simply put, it's an infinity entendre. To break that down even further, temperature check is an adjective that can be used in every facet of your daily life. When you talk to your significant other in the morning, you say good morning to her or him. Based upon the reaction that you get, you know what type of day it is. That's a temperature check. When you watching the football game or the sporting events and you questioning the calls and you questioning the players, that's a temperature check. When you see something going wrong in your community and you're outraged by it and you want to speak out on it, that's a temperature check. Temperature check is an infinity entendre. Again, I will consistently say that it is an infinity entendre. So a couple things that I want to do temperature checks on today specifically is the NFL. It's a couple storylines that they've had in the last 10 days that I personally have a problem with. And I want to address it, and I want to make sure that I am articulating myself correctly in doing so. The first incident that I have a problem with happened last Monday, I do believe, with Booger Mcfarland on NFL Live discussing Dwayne Haskins, former quarterback of the Washington football team. Now, Booger Mcfarland, I don't necessarily have a problem with what you're saying. I definitely don't have a problem with you covering the story because that is your job. That is what you are responsible to do. That is a responsibility that you have to uphold. You have to follow up on storylines and communicate different storylines. However, you need to be a little bit more cautious with the wording that you use when describing the African American athlete, because you are one of very few African American sports analysts that have a voice that people listen to on a regular basis. And when you say that the black NFL player is more concerned with their personal branding and their social media platforms than they are winning games and ingratiating themselves with the NFL organization, sir, I have a very big problem with that. I have a very big problem with that. Why are you not calling out all the good behaviors that these African American athletes have in the NFL? I don't hear you calling out Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes. I don't see you calling them out. But when I watch TV, when I personally watch TV, who do I see in the commercials? Who do I see in all the commercials? I see Aaron Rodgers. I see Baker Mayfield. I see Tom Brady. Yeah, you might have a Dak Prescott or a Russell Wilson or a Patrick Mahomes here and there, but those aren't the people that I'm constantly seeing on TV. So, sir, I'm confused. When you say that the African American athlete is more worried about their brand, or are they worried about just trying to make it? Are they worried about just trying to succeed, to beat the odds? They beat the odds just to get in the door. Now they're trying to beat the odds to stay there. And one bad decision can definitely alter their career. So you're right in what you said about Dwayne Haskins, but you're wrong in your inability to understand the responsibility that you have as another African American man, especially being a former NFL player. And you too, Randy Moss, because you don't get to turn your head and get to walk away out of this situation either, because both of you guys were on that platform and you guys had the ability and the And you should have had the wherewithal to, even though Dwayne Haskins, he got cut, even though his behavior was erratic and it was negative and it was not representation of what the African American culture is. However, you guys had the opportunity to stand up with Dwayne Haskins and say, we need to talk to him. We need to take him under our wing and mentor him. Because, Booger, you said you're tired of this behavior. So how are you correcting it? You said you were sick of people not understanding that it's a business. So where are you at to explain the business? I see a lot of times, man, older generations, they sometimes believe that they cannot connect with a younger generation. Why? Or is it that your presentation might have to be a little bit different than what you're used to, and it might push you out of your comfort zone in order to communicate and draw a connection to that person that you're trying to communicate to? You definitely fumbled an amazing opportunity, a very organic opportunity that could have happened live on camera, so that the world could have seen the love that black men have for each other. You and Randy Moss, a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm pretty sure you won a Super Bowl. You guys have status. You guys have made it. You've navigated the NFL waters and retired. And not only have you retired, you've set yourself up for generational success. Don't you think Dwayne Haskins wants to see that? One thing I definitely took offense to, Mr. Booger Mcfarland, is when Dwayne Haskins was quoted as saying he didn't feel supported by the Washington football team. You rolled your eyes at that statement. Why? Why can he not feel like he wasn't supported enough? Why would you then on national TV say, I don't think he's going to get it? This man has lost his job. His agent has left him. It's very easy to beat up on Dwayne Haskins right now. It's very easy. You had a choice. You had an opportunity that you could have taken to show the world the love that black men have for each other. And you failed to do so, which is again, opportunities come and go. But this is what I will say, because maybe you have in private called Dwayne Haskins and said, hey man, let's go out to lunch, or let's talk, let's set up a meeting. I want to talk to you. My problem with that is you ridicule him in public, so why would you not uplift him in public? Keep the same energy. Keep the same energy. That's all we ask. I don't ask for stuff to be fair. Fair is something that you see in a small town with pigs. They judge pigs and watermelons and all that crazy stuff. I look for consistency. ESPN, NFL Live, Sportscenter, I'm looking for consistency. Booger Mcfarland, Randy Moss, I'm looking for consistency in your words. Do your words match up with your actions? Something to think about. Situation number 2 I want to talk about, man. So the Monday after the regular season ends in the NFL, man, it's definitely a very tension-filled day. Very, very much a tension-filled day, because what is happening is that's the day a lot of lives are going to be changed forever, because a lot of people are losing their jobs for one reason or another. Maybe the coaches and the coaching staff are having a disagreement and there's some internal argument. Maybe the product on the field is not producing enough wins that the organization feels it needs to be producing for the amount of money and time that they've invested into this ball club. I get that. I respect that. But SportsCenter, my problem is the problem that I have with you right now is you guys don't understand how essential using the proper verbiage and the proper languages can ultimately be. So the second situation that I want to speak on just recently happened, maybe Sunday, Monday. What we need to do as a society is be very careful with the words that we use and how we structure our sentences and how we say certain things, because there is definitely power in words. And one word could trigger a narrative, either good or bad. So if you do not know what I'm talking about, the NFL season concluded this past Sunday. So for any team that was not advancing to the playoffs, their season ended on Sunday. And what does that mean when their season ends? It's time to start looking ahead to next season. And leadership of organizations waste no time in doing so. They start making changes. They start making roster changes. They start making coaching and leadership changes. So it's a very, very fragile time in the organization once the season has concluded if you have not advanced to the regular season. It's specifically for head coaches in the NFL that have had troubled seasons or troubled situations within their tenure in the organization that they serve. And so what I want to do is really talk to Sportscenter and ESPN and whoever is running their social media platforms. Now, holistically, ESPN and Sportscenter, you guys do a phenomenal job of being very progressive, very open to different genders, sexual orientations, cultures, ethnicity, across the board. You guys do a phenomenal job. However, you did make a grave mistake, and a mistake that not a lot of people are talking about that I wanted to bring to the forefront. So what I want to do is provide 3 examples of NFL organizations that have removed their head coach following the 2020 season and are now looking for new head coaches in the 2021. Now, again, what I will say, the caveat to this is one of the coaches is African American, but based on the words that I used to describe the way he was relieved of duties, you tell me which one you think it is. And again, these are words used by SportsCenter, and at the end of this, I will pull up the files, so I can show you that I'm not just making this up. So, 9-23. A coach was 9-23. If it's about 16 games in a season, he basically had a season and a half. 9-23. That organization decided to part ways with him. I'm cool with that. 23-43 in 4 seasons, coming off a 1-15 record in 2020, parted ways. I'm cool with that. 33-31, 1-1 in the playoffs in 4 seasons, fired. So 33-31, a winning record, 1-1 in the playoffs means in 4 seasons he's been to the playoffs twice. And what was the word that you used to describe his departure from the team? Fired. Why did he not have the ability to part ways like Adam Gase from the New York Jets? Why did he not have the ability to part ways like Doug Marrone from the Jacksonville Jaguars? But Anthony Lynn is fired because he's 33-31. He's 1-1 in the playoffs. The previous 2 coaches I just talked about do not have playoff experience. He's been to the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years. So when I say we need to really think about the power of our words and how we use them, it's hard enough being African American trying to get a head coaching job in the NFL anyway. But when you have a powerhouse like ESPN and SportsCenter using negative adjectives to describe an African American coach's departure from an NFL team, that could be immensely damaging to his career. Do you understand that truly? And if you don't, you need to understand, again, the power of words. Again, I understand that people make mistakes, and I'm not here to condemn your mistakes. I'm just here to call them out and hope that you improve the behavior moving forward. This is Temperature Check. I am your host as always, man. Mr. Check the Temperature. And if you didn't know, we're just getting started.